That, ladies and gentlemen, there are only a few people in the world who can say they've been on the God and Gig show from the beginning and been on it twice. They have to be the best. They have to be the brightest. They have to be the most professional. They have to be the most talented. So clearly, this man has made the list. We're not talking about Grammys. We're not talking about Oscars. We talk about being on God and Gig show, man. It's the highest honor. It is my pleasure to welcome bass player extraordinaire, composer, musical director, and husband and father, which is probably his favorite title, Chris Snowden, to the God and Gig show. How are you doing, my friend?
My brother, Alan Paul, thank you so much for having me, man, here. Wow, my second time. I must be somebody special.
You are. I wish that was like something you could put on your resume, but I
I mean, it,
honestly,
it is. Hey, matter of fact, the first one I did, I put it definitely on the resume. I mean, look at who you are. You're Alan Paul. Like,
no. Okay,
no, no,
all
no,
right.
no,
Let's
no, no,
slow
no.
down. Slow down.
Okay, for people that's going to watch, for people that are watching, listening now, and probably going to watch this again, me and Alan Paul are from the same hometown of a
Yep.
small town of Pensacola, Florida. But I've been knowing who Alan Paul was majority of my whole life before I met him in 2015. And we did a show with artist Chester Gregory. Shout out to another Pensacolian hometown boy, Carl Lewis, for
Yeah.
beating everything up. And so I've been knowing knew who you were, and especially knew who your dad was and who your mom is. They're giants in the city. And I've been hearing about you. Let's just say my whole life until we met and we worked together. Dang, can you believe it? Next year will be 10 years.
Oh my God. See, that's the part that like bothers me when we start talking about like, oh, I knew you when,
Yes,
because
man.
then like I just feel older and older and older and older. And I know I'm
No,
supposed to
I'm getting older.
appreciate it.
That
Okay.
means I'm getting
No,
older.
you're staying. Okay. All right. Everyone's listening to this. Like, what are they talking about? All right. So we got to get to the meat of the matter, man, because we could talk
Yeah,
about this. As you can see, everybody, we are friends. We're brothers.
we
We
are. We
really
are.
connected over not just music, but this is why I wanted you back on the show, man. I'm so glad you accepted the invitation and said, hey, let's do this, because so much life has happened.
Yep.
And I think for every creative, whether they're musician, whether they're, artist, creative, producer, whatever, all of us go through these seasons, and you'll get to a point, it's like, how did I get here? What did I do right? And what did I do wrong? And so that's why I wanted to have you back on, because you have perspective that you can share that you didn't even have back when we first started working with Chester, back when we first did our interview. So first,
Mm-hmm.
though, this is the tough part. I know everybody hates this part, but I have to ask you, because some people are meeting you for the first time. They didn't listen back to the very first episode. I'll put it on the show notes so they can go back. But if anybody's meeting you for the first time, what are those first two or three things that you want to make sure they know about you if they don't hear anything else?
The only thing I would say would be hi. I'm Chris Snowden. That's it. And they'd be like, "Well, what do you do?" And I'll just say, "Hey, I'm a professional bassist. I play for some people you may know, you may not know, And then they'd be like, "Oh, really? Who do you know?" And then I have to say who is my current boss. I said, "Do you know 2003 American Idol winner Ruben Studdard?" I said, "Currently his bass player." And I said I've bassist for a few more other people that I've had the pleasure of working with, Dave Koz, um, the legendary Jeffrey Osborne, um, the legendary Brian McKnight, um, Kelly Price, Eric Darius, SOS Band, MC Light. God, just for a few people. I just say just for a few
Just a few.
people, just for a few people, and mostly everybody on the contemporary jazz scene. You know, that's what I just say, or I'll just say, and then I'll just say, but first, I'm just a human being. You
Yeah.
know, my first thing I love to tell people just to get them laughing. I'll say, I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody that little Debbie made me big. That's it.
Wait.
See, I
Yo,
told you to make you
you got
laugh.
me. No, I was ready for the I'm just a nobody try about everybody, about somebody. I thought you were gonna finish the male chorus line, because all the
hmm
folk that have done in the male chorus have been in church, have all heard
You
the
know that
whole
song.
thing.
But I like to put my
You and
twist on it. I'm just
you
a
put your
nobody
twist
trying
on
to
it,
tell
man.
everybody that little Debbie made me big.
And on
See,
that
it
note,
breaks the
good
ice.
night, everybody.
See, it breaks the
It
ice with
does.
you.
But you're so relatable, man. So here's where we can jump right into. You just named a bunch of people that have
Yeah.
made a lot of music, sold a lot of records, have been famous, whatever fame is now. Now it's influencer, but whatever. Like who have real talent, who are doing it still across the nation and traveling
Yeah.
internationally. So you entered that world. In our last interview, you talked about why you were able to survive in that world and get into it because you were professional, because you honored the call. Again, they can go listen to that episode. But now I wanted to dive into what you have learned since
Ooh.
becoming that first call, that guy that has to run things. Because I've seen it, man. I've seen you grow and elevate,
Ooh.
but
Yeah.
that's maybe the harder thing. So tell me, like off the bat, I'm going to hit you hard off the bat. What are some lessons that you have learned since you started being more productive, more basically the first call? Like this is your band now. You're used to, you're bringing in other people. So now, what are the lessons you've learned that help you like sustain the success you've gotten?
First thing I would say is trial and error.
Hmm.
Everybody's going to go through that trial and error. I literally thought I was exempt from it, but it makes you who you are and makes you a better musical director, but even a better human being. Um, Man, some of the experiences I've learned is that you may have close friends that can play, but that doesn't mean that they're fit for the gig.
Mm,
And so, what do you do now when you have someone that's quote unquote close? You basically knew majority of your professional career, and and of course, yeah, put me on, put me on, put me on, and you can't put them on because your accountability and your credibility means everything to you. And so you do that and you find out, hey, they're not fit for the gig. So that doesn't mean the friendship stops.
right.
But a lot of friendships have ended because I didn't quote unquote put you on the gig. But everybody has to make that decision. And one of my best friends, who's one of my mentees, um, shout out to him, Mr. Westberg. Um, he's the MD of all MDs, and we're best friends, and we're good friends, and we're brothers. But there are certain situations I can't go into because I may not be the fit for the gig, and it's a lot of things that goes into fit for the gig, and that doesn't mean you're playing. Number one,
Right.
you know,
And
and it means who's there for budget wise, who's some things that may be big or may hit big to you, it may be something that a budget thing that why you cannot go and all that. So you have to learn to be okay with that. And I have to learn that I have to make those decisions. If I'm in the MD seat and the artist says, here's your budget, here's da da da, you have to maneuver. And sometimes it's not always. You may want this person or that person to be on there, but just sometimes it just can't be. And then you have to learn. I've learned to separate personal from business. That's number one.
that's it.
That's
Yeah.
number one. So, and all that to say that I had to learn to separate personal from business because business moves, certain business moves have to be made. You can't take it personal. That doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with you. It's just business. And then certain artists, it's just preference. So I had to learn how to decipher, walk the thin line between the two. You know, Another thing, as an MD, you have to learn how to be a people's person. What may be a thing for them may not be a thing to you, but you have to respect and act like you care, and you do have to care
Yeah.
because everybody is there's no I in team. There's no I in team, so you have to basically be the leader and be a team player at the same time. So
Yeah, man. I
so I
got I
say
got it.
again, so I just say it's trial and error. It's a lot of trial and error that I had to learn, and some things I did not get right. Some things had to come around a second time that I got right, and
Yeah.
so that what makes you better. that what
I
makes
want
you.
to right there, bro. I wanted to catch that before we go too far, because
Mhm.
you're hitting so many great points. But the fact that you started with trial and error and then a people person, and again, I feel like we're doing it is an encore of the last episode because I'm pretty sure we talked about this. These are not musical qualities.
Right.
You haven't said a thing about, hey, I had to learn how to get my amp right. I had to learn how to get the right strings or sponsor. You didn't talk money, any of that stuff. So you're starting with relationships, and that's the thing I want to like make sure I nailed with for anyone's listening. The fact that you were talking about, especially the part that you just talked about. Like I said, I want to dig in right away. When you talk about your best friend doesn't call you for the gig, or someone that you know really well, and that doesn't damage the relationship, bro. Can I be
Yeah,
honest with
that.
you? That
Hmm.
has damaged relationships in my life. Like I don't know about you.
And it has in my life as well. You
Yeah.
know, it has damaged my life, some things, relationships in my life as well, because I've been in the seat of musical director and I had to pick the people. It's not picking the people who has the most notes, who shred, who, but you're picking the people, can't talk. You're picking the people who's fit for the gig. That even to two of my favorite, um, two quote unquote who I looked up to from afar. And one day I'm going to meet these guys and we're going to work together, which is Adam Blackstone, Ricky Minor. Those are my two favorite bassist music directors, and I glean from afar. Um, Even to them, they have those people. Why I didn't get the call and da 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 da. Certain people just fits the opportunity and the situation and what it is. Even to me, certain situations I don't even fit.
Hmm.
You know, and it's not a musical thing. It could be from a look, a certain image or a certain look that they want to go with. You know, so you have to learn to be okay, not to be called.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you're not good. That doesn't mean that you're not the best on your instrument. That just means that some better is coming. But so if you know, if my favorite quote my wife loves is, "If you stay ready, you won't have to get ready." And so those things like that is, you know, you pick to see, hey, who's going to first be there on time, who's going to be punctual, who's going to do the gig at a high level, and who's going to learn the music, and who's not going to be a butthole on the gig.
Right.
So before we even talking about, hey, let's go to the one, let's go to the four, before we even plug up and do all of that,
Yep.
you just picking the people because, hey, I like to work with these people because they're easy to work with.
And that's so much of this when it comes to, and I'm thinking not just in terms of like music stage, but in church, in production, like you name it. There's just something about people who I think the right word would be empathy. Like you said at
Yes,
the beginning, like you want to be known as a human being, like a good human being. And that's why I'm becoming more and more sold on God and Gigs being that place where we tell people, just this is how you be a good human being
right.
while you do all these other things. Because what I every interview that with a successful guy like yourself always comes down to, I just like working with good people. I like being a good person. I like being respectful. I like that. Like, do you think there's something in? I hate to go to negative, but we always do a little bit. Do you think there's something in people who are looking for the gig, looking to get put on, that makes them forget the whole golden rule: treat each other like you like to be treated?
Um, I'm gonna say yeah and a little no.
Okay,
Okay,
expand. Yeah,
yeah.
expand on that. Yeah.
So yes, a lot of people do forget the golden rule because you feel like sometimes in your mind, oh, I've made it, or I've arrived,
Okay.
and no, you haven't. um, you know, I mean, it just treating people right. Just even when you go into, and I had to learn this. I had to literally learn this myself so I could talk about it. It's just even if you're just going to, just say Waffle House or to an IHOP or just to any one of your favorite restaurants, right? You treat the waiter right. And I remember one day. I was on tour, and shout out to this person, John Snow, awesome guitarist. And I had sat down. I sat down. They told me, please sit down. And I sat down. It was like 20 minutes went by. And I mean, I wasn't paying attention. I was just on my phone. And I just, man, where's my waiter? I've been there 20. He was like, hey, there's only one waiter in here. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Mm.
Because I was caught up in doing what I'm doing. And you know, you used to when you sit down, boom, hey, how you da. So I didn't even look at the surroundings. So I was just so impatient. I was like, and I was literally upset, like, well, I want my, you know. And he was like, hey, it says only one way to we have to be patient. And I was like, in that moment, it taught me right then and there. You never know what's going on. You didn't even look the surroundings. You haven't even checked. So hey, even if there is a wait, we still treat people right. We
Yeah.
still, because that little, hey, how are you? You doing okay today? That could go a long way. Nobody's spitting your food. Nobody's spitting your
Right.
drink.
Right.
You know, so I would say yes to that point. That we forget sometimes. Because of who we playing for and all that. We forget to be a human being. But then that little no is some people just they still treat people the same because they know that hey, you can be here today and not here tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just my little thing on it. So, but
No, I love
um,
that. That's good perspective, man. Because I think the reason why I'm so into this right now is, as I mentioned even earlier before, that some of the stories I'm hearing from some of our former, they're guys that we came up with, right?
mhm,
Pensacola. They're guys from North Florida, anywhere in the world. Obviously, it's not just for us in our location. But you're wondering, like, why didn't they make it? Why didn't they make? Why are we where we are?
mhm,
And they were there. And again, I'm not trying to put us on a pedestal,
mhm,
but as I'm getting older, dude, and as you notice it's happening. We were just talking about it. Perspective teaches you everything. Hindsight is 2020. So you start to realize some decisions I didn't realize I was making set me up to succeed. And
right,
clearly, those people that I'm looking at, like, what happened? They didn't make those same decisions. Can you think back to a decision? Like, I'm thinking right now, like, even whether it was high school, college, like, can you think back to a decision that you didn't realize was going to be as impactful as it was to, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't know,
mhm,
we didn't know nothing, man. We were just out there.
right, right,
But at some point, either somebody said something or guided you the right way, or you made like a pivotal choice. And that was the difference between you being where you're at and then someone else that didn't make the same kind of choice. And you're like, bro, I wish
yeah.
you had, you know what I mean?
I mean, I started at one of the things that got me was I'm always maybe it's just the way my parents raised me. Just I've always been the guy that no matter who the artist is or where we're playing, we treat it like we're playing to 15,000 people. We treat it we treat it on a high level. Um, Another guy I used to work with, uh, keyboardist. His name is Alex King. Shout out to him from Jacksonville. He's Jacksonville's best kept secret, by the way.
All right.
Um,
Not anymore. You just told on, you just, you just ratted
he
them
told
out.
me, I mean, just working my way up in the ranks. He told me he was like, "Hey, you treat everything like it's that
Hmm.
tour you want to be on, and that'll set you up." And so that stuck with me. So whether it was church, 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, whether it was a funeral, whether it was somebody's backyard birthday party, I treated it the way like if it was a tour. If they want us to be set up at a certain time, we came before time. We did everything. So I just had in my mind from that day, I had to be like maybe 17, 18. And hey, we treat everything like we're playing at the Hollywood Bowl, or we're playing at Carnegie Hall, or we're playing the Red Rocks Amphitheater, or we're playing the Crypto Arena. We treat everything the way it is, and along my journey, I just found out some people just don't think that way, and I mean it
Mm.
just sucks. But if it's something for them, they want you to, they'll be,
Right,
but
right,
if it's for
yes, that
somebody
part.
else, it's like, man, I ain't putting my energy in it. And it's like, huh? I'm like, oh,
It's
okay, okay. I know what to do now. I got you.
right.
So,
You,
so you just, that's been the hardest thing for me, honestly.
the
But it
hardest thing has
set me
been
up, the
been
hardest, that's
what?
been the hardest thing for me to be like, wow, and it just feel like it's a letdown to that person because you know what that person can do.
So is the hardest thing accommodating them? Is the hardest thing realizing that they missed out? Like I want to make sure like I pin
It's the
that down.
hardest thing.
Like,
The hardest thing was is like, wow, you're gonna miss out, and it's like, wow, I don't know why you think that way. I'm not gonna even understand why,
and you
and
can't help them. Yeah,
I
yeah, I
can't
got
help
it.
you.
I
You
got
know,
it. I got it
because
now.
then when
Yeah.
it comes to you or something that's important to you, you want everybody. So I feel like what the Bible says, you reap what you sow.
Yep.
You know,
That's
I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Whether I don't care what it is and another thing as we go back, whatever you agree to, you say yes to it. You have to obligate those things that they need.
be a man of your word. Be a man of your
Right,
word. Yeah.
right. Um, so yeah, that was the number one thing. I've treated everything right, and the Bible also tells us if anybody wants to know, I am kind of excuse me, I
Hey,
am a
we
little
all
church boy. I
no,
am a
we're all
church boy.
churchy around here.
So
We're all
the
churchy
Bible,
around here,
the
bro.
Bible says, if you be faithful over the little things, He'll make you ruler over many. And some people get that out of context. Take that out of context. Like He can't bless you with $1 million if you're not going to be a good steward over the $1,000.
Yep.
Or you know, He's not going to bless you to play for 15,000 if you can't be a good steward and treat the 150 people, or the 50 people, or the 500 people correctly. You know,
You,
so you have to treat everything like it's that big on that quote unquote big gig. You know,
yeah, bro. You know what I'm
that's and,
hearing
and
as
that's
you
the
as you
thing. That's the thing that set me up. That's the thing that set me up and keeps on setting me up. You know,
yeah.
and meaning treat it. That means respect the gig. I take the gig serious. I learn my music. If there's a certain code, certain dress code, certain time, you honor those. You honor that. And we ain't even got to on the stage yet.
Nope.
How you acting
That's what
on
I'm
the stage?
saying. Yeah, bro. I,
These are the things. These are the things. You know that gets you to. Then let's crank up
yes,
and go.
yes.
It's those things. It's those little things.
You know what I'm hearing, man, is, and I love this so much. There's two things that popped up. Number one, when you talked about the 150, the guys that don't
Hmm.
treat the 150 and 100 and the little those restaurant gigs and little church musicals, they don't treat it right.
Hmm.
Here's what I think you and I are discovering. And I'll say this even for the artists, because I've become very, very serious about the entrepreneur side of this, because these folks will be looking for gigs. And again, we're talking about all kinds of creators. So maybe you're looking for a musical, right? Maybe you're a singer, maybe you're an actress, maybe you're a graphic designer, and you're trying to get on with these big, big things, right? What I'm finding more and more, bro, the money and the attention is in the little rooms.
It is.
The actual look, like, bro, we're trying to spit game today. The real connections are never in those big arenas. They're always in those small rooms with just a few people. You show up and you're like, man, ain't nobody here. And then the person that walks up to you is the CEO of so and so, or the next person that walks. Like, it's always the small rooms that you discount that turn out to be those places that somebody walks in,
Hmm.
right? Or even more importantly, like those are the rooms where like people who have to make decisions, they ain't in the big arenas. They in that back room. They're in that small room that you think is just a little
Yep.
party. So
And they're taking their wife to. They're taking their
yes,
wife to because
yes,
they're having some downtime because they've been gone for a while from the house, which is another subject we'll get onto.
yep.
They've
We
been,
gotta
they've
go
been
there.
gone from the house maybe a few days and a few weeks, and We all have wives, and so we all know what that means. When you come home, she wants to go out, so that's that letting that hair down and all that. And that guy may just, hey, you know what, baby, let's go to this thing right here. And you sitting here, man, da 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 da. But that one person that's treating that gig right, that person connects with them, and that's the launch of their career. So
100%.
it's always the little rooms. It's always the little rooms.
That's
It's
really
not
where it
the,
happens.
it's not the like you said, it's not the big arenas. It's really them small arenas.
Yeah, bro.
Really them,
So,
and I call those deposits. I call those deposits and investments. I call it that.
all right,
You know.
expound on that because that's deep, right there. The fact that you went to that phrase, right, depositing and investing, because that's you see, I was kind of angling toward like the business side
Mm-hmm.
because I think what happens is again that we get so caught up in the outside
Mm-hmm.
part. We just talked about the character, your relationships, and then just how you treat each individual thing like an investment. Like, talk a little more about that. Like, why did you use that phrase?
So so one thing was, I would say, the launch of my career. And I owe these three, like I said, I talked about it before, and I owe these three people, they'll be like, oh man, no, you don't, da, da, da. Mr. Sean Michael Ray, the OG of the Southeast base, the OG, you name it. He's done it. He's done it. Again, Mr. Westberg. Um, I'm sorry, those two. I'm sorry, those two was the launching key. I did a show for Mr. Sean Michael Ray, his one of his artists, Mr. Alex Young. Did that show. I didn't know what the band was. I didn't even ask about the pay. I wasn't even on that. I wasn't even on that. Just did the gig, and so I walk in the room to set up, and look who I saw to the right, Mr. Westberg on keys. I was like, oh wow. I said, oh wow. It's like, glad I learned my music. And I
Yep.
just let the stage, you know, the camaraderie, all of that, Then when we got to the music side and, to that side, it was like, hey, I need a bass player for such and such such. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Now on the flip side, when I got the check, it was a small amount. But the investment I made
Whoa.
was, if I could sound like this and we could play like this for the $250 gig, I just set myself up so he can know I can handle the 500, the $1,000, the 10,000, that. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
The
I get it.
deposit
I
and
hope the
investment.
listeners are get. I hope the people that are listening and
The,
watching
the
are getting it.
deposit and the investment. We talked
The
about the
the
small rooms,
the
right?
the return is
The re-
way bigger. Yeah, gotcha.
you
That's
get a
awesome, man.
lifelong, you get a lifelong spitting freak and get a lifelong of work. But then that comes in what you said, the character, how you do things. So I looked at it as that. That's what I looked at it as. Okay, I'm gonna take this, but I'm gonna flip it and make it work.
Dude.
Not not in the not in a and I want to say this. Not in a greedy way.
Right. No, that's
Not in
no,
a
that's
way, but
it's
but in a
exactly the
way,
opposite. It's
right?
not the greed. It's not a greed and oh, I'm gonna make so much more in this. It's more of the principle of I'm going to treat this with the same respect that I expect or I want to treat the $1 million gig, the $5, the 5,000, whatever. Like,
Yep.
whatever the numbers don't matter. That's what's key. The numbers stop mattering. Like the actual zeros behind it stop
It's about
mattering.
who called. It's about who called you and who are
Yeah.
you connected to.
Amen. Yep. Bro, this is
That's
so
that's
powerful.
that's what it's about. And believe it or not, some people just still don't get it
No.
because
And
they
and like you
focus
said,
because
you have
you're focused on the amount of zeros,
mm-hmm.
but you're not looking at the lifelong relationship or the connection, to sustain. Because
Yep.
we are all one phone call away from that big hoorah thing, whatever it is. You're really only one phone call away.
Yeah. That's so good, man. And you know what's funny that as you said that, even in my head, I said, you know, it's funny that the older I get, the less we talked about the numbers. Obviously, you know, we're talking about being responsible. So
Right,
obviously, we're not saying the money doesn't matter because I can hear people in the back of my head saying, "No, I ain't playing no more $50 gigs. I'm done with that." We understand being paid what you're worth,
right. We
but the key
understand that.
is acting like you're worth that first. Like you can't be, oh, pay me what I'm worth, and you're still
Right,
act like you're not
right.
even acting like you're worth that. So how am I going to trade you what you're worth, but you're
You know
acting
what?
like,
Right.
yo,
I
I'm
can't pay
trying not to.
you. I can't pay you. I can't pay you $1,500 when you acting like $100.
Man, see,
That's another that's another something that we're
I
gonna
I
get
know I
into.
opened the door. I know I was trying
You,
not to go there, but I just opened the door
I
to it
mean,
because
no,
you
that's
went
not
there too.
negative. That's just game. Like even if you, okay, let's go there. We're gonna go there.
Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
go there.
We opened the door. Might as
We
well
open
walk
the
on
door.
through. We left the gate
You
open.
can't ask to be paid a certain amount, and first of all, you don't even look. You don't even look like you're worth it. And
Wow.
two, you didn't even properly prepare. You want this, but you can't even treat. Another one of my mentors say, if you can't go in and kill the $200 gig, what makes you think you're gonna go and kill the $1,000 gig?
Right. Right.
And kill means my appearance. I'm groomed for the gig. I look to par. And then let's get into sound. How do you sound?
Yes. Yes.
Did you study?
100%.
Did you study that record? Did you study that song? Did you study the tonality of the song? Did you study? Hey, this may be long note. This may be half note, quarter note. Did you study the feel of that song, or the feel of the record, or that artist discography? Did you study? You know, did you morph it into? Did you embed it? You know that right there. Hey, did you do that? You
Dude.
know,
Yeah, no,
you
we're shaking
can't.
our head. Like if you're not watching, you're only listening. We're shaking our head because like this is the
Matter
part
of
where
fact,
you run into like this wall. It's like yeah, people who don't get that. Just this is why I've decided in this entire platform, from the podcast to everything I share, I am no longer, and this sounds very arrogant, but I'm going to say it because I'm getting older. I can say stuff, right? I am no longer interested in the whole I have to go back and pull people up because the people who need to be pulled up are already fine or they're already reaching. The people who are reaching and trying to like they're already there. Like 90% of people who are listening to this are not the people who need to hear this. That's what's crazy. Like I'm saying, like the people we're preaching to the choir. Because
hmm
if they're listening to a podcast or watching a video about professionalism, 9 times out of 10, you already the kind of person that Chris would call. Because you're listening to him right now and you want to be this kind of person. You want to be this kind of creative. You want to be a person that has a wife and a family and has character and can go home and be who he is and not have to like lord it over everybody. Like you're already that kind of person. So 9 times out of 10, man, we already know the circle. And the circle keeps getting smaller and smaller
the
because
circle gets
it
smaller.
becomes more and more obvious who's in that. Like we're not trying to be cliquish. That was a big thing for me back in the day. We're just talking now.
Yeah,
And a big thing back in the day was I felt like, oh, I don't want to be part of a clique. I don't want to be one of these groups that, well, they only call each other and they only do this, only that. And I just realized it's not a clique.
it's not a click.
It's
It's
it's the people who I can depend on, and that becomes
right,
like a family.
right,
And my family doesn't get bigger unless somebody's like really part of the family. When
right.
someone gets married, and like I'll give a a personal example. My daughter and my son are both married now, right? You know, we just talked
hmm
about how when you
Wait,
met
wait,
them, they were
wait. That's right.
see,
Naomi did get
see,
married. Yeah,
see. So both of these in-laws I have, you know, I was looking at them crazy when they first were dating.
yeah,
Now they are my children.
yeah.
I have two new children, but I
hmm
didn't get two new children just by them walking up and saying hi. They
Right.
had to prove themselves to that spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had to come over to my house and they had to hang out with me. And I'm being crazy. And I'm being dad. And I'm grilling them.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm doing all this stuff. That's how you become part of the family. You just talked about it. Like you show up on time, you know the music, you don't complain when your check is this. And then all of a sudden you realize people that you're talking about, Wes Bird is now a friend, is family. But
That's yeah.
that took time for you to be a part of the family. It's not a clique. It's just the way you become part of a group.
Yeah. I mean, not only him, Mr. John the we call him down here in the South, the John Jackson. That that guy's been running amazing mile long. It's just certain musical directors, and they like you said, they become friends, and then when you realize it, like you said, it's not those. Good friend of mine, David Smith, and J. Rod Sullivan. Those, like you said, it becomes small and small, and it's not click. It's just preference, and you know that these people are going to come in and do the job right.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. And I'm pretty sure. I mean, everyone has that. Everyone has that. They know that, hey, okay, I can call this person. Like, even to me, as being musical director at my church, Rise City Church here in my hometown, Pensacola, I can't call everyone. I'm calling the
Right.
people that I know that is going to do the job right and effective.
Yeah.
That's going to go that extra mile. That's going to go that extra mile without you even asking.
That's it, man.
And that's literally coming to serve. You know, and that's just a team player. You know, so
Bro,
yeah.
okay, we've killed that because that is like our hearts. You can tell if anyone's listening, they're like, man, they can't get off the subject. It's because this is really who we
This
are.
is this
But
is really who we are.
but
This is our
but
life. This is what
yeah,
you
man.
know. That's
But I
on
do
our
want to.
mind.
It's on our mind all the time, 100%,
Right.
24/7. But let me focus now. We just mentioned family, so you were just talking about my family. Let's talk about your family,
Okay.
your biologicals, because
Yeah.
man, your life has changed a bunch since you were last on the show. Episode 157, by the way, I look back, was episode. Well, actually, that was like the repost. So
Wow.
we've done like 100 since then. So you can go back to 157
So
and find
yes,
the first one. So since then, man,
yes,
what has
I
happened
am.
in the Snowden household?
So yes, I'm 2020 in the middle of COVID. Yeah, I know. I married the love of my life, Kimberly Sherrill McLaren. Now McLaren Snowden. We was dating for for 2 years and got married in 2020. And in 2021, I was blessed with my son, my namesake Christian Snowden Jr. And in 2023, no, 2024, sorry, excuse me, 2024, I was blessed with my baby girl, Christine Sherrill Snowden. So yeah, no more Baby Factory is closed. That's it. No more.
All right,
So
you heard it
yeah,
on the podcast.
so I
So
have two.
it's on tape, so we can laugh at that later. If, you
So I
know.
have two under two.
mm. So you just mentioned coming off the road and
Yeah.
making sure that mama's happy. So now, bro, tell me how you're
So
navigating
now,
that.
so now, so now, I came off the road of 2023. Came off the road, and honestly, how everything went, didn't want it to go that way, but um, let's just say it just needed it for that time.
Hmm.
You know, certain things that you feel like didn't work out for you really worked out for you. So
Yeah.
hindsight is 2020. So we move forward, right? All right, great.
Yep.
So, yeah, came off the road 2023 December, and my baby girl was born in January of 2024. And so now, moving the coming off the road now you're making sure home is great. So when that time comes for you to get back on the road, and I'm not off the road fully, just spot
No,
dates
yeah, I
here,
hear what you're saying. Yeah,
spot
like
dates here and there. So it's not like
there's a balance of it that you have
right,
to find now with the new season of your life. And
right.
what I really wanted to hit real quick was because I feel like our priorities shift.
It does. Your
Not
priorities,
just
A shift,
Not just
yes.
not that you never not that you didn't care already about making sure your home is great, right, but in terms of what you have to do to provide for that home,
Mm-hmm.
your things, whether it be studio work, whether it be making sure you, like you said, your schedule now becomes, hey, I got to be home by X, or I can't be doing all the way over here, or can't be over there. So I
Mm-hmm.
know it's only been a few months, but just tell me how where's your mindset in terms of
Man,
that going forward, like
I,
ownership,
so
how you can handle that, because you're bro, like it happens to
whew,
all of us. It happened to me, and it's happening to you now.
it's man, wow. So I would say with one, it was okay. You schedule this, schedule that, boom, boom, bam. As we call it, shucking and jiving. Two, whoa. You know,
That's just
so your priorities, you're a husband first and your father first. So you have to make sure that home life is taken care of before you even get your day started. With the things that you need to do, you make sure, you know, is my wife taken care of, is my children taken care of. So now, that whole dad life, you wake up early, you make sure, you have to wake up early before time, you
yep.
know, to get the children ready for school, make sure their meals are taken, the proper meals, make sure they're on time to school. You make sure they're on time to school, make sure they have the things, and then you come home to make sure is your wife okay. Then hey, you sit down. I'm learning now to sit down with the calendar planner, and you sit there with your wife, and you go
Smart.
go
Yep.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What can you do? Okay, what not?
Mine,
And then
mine is right, bro.
listen,
It's a
listen.
lifesaver.
I'm in
We're
this
helping
life.
some marriages right now. We are helping some
Listen,
marriages stay married right
listen.
now.
I'm in that life right now, and let's just be real. Every day is not peaches and roses.
Right.
Let's help some people. Every day is not peaches and roses. You may see that couple post a picture, but before they posted that picture,
It's so true.
uh, Cash App, $ Christian Snowden. If I'm helping and blessing somebody today,
Yes, you are. We'll put it in
and
the
so
notes.
listen,
Send the offering.
and so listen. And this is another thing. I surround myself with not because I'm not better than nobody, but I surround myself with people that are better than me.
Yeah.
I surround myself with people that are better than me. And what I mean by better than me is that, when I surround myself with people that are better than me, it helps me get better. It helps me. It makes me better.
Iron sharpens iron, man.
Iron sharpens iron. That's what the Bible
That's
says.
it. That's
And
it.
so I surround myself with people like you, with people like my good friend David Smith, Cameron Sankey, back again Westburg, Sean, all these are their husbands and fathers. Because let's just be real. It is hard, man.
It's tough, man.
It's tough.
Man,
It's tough to and you make sacrifices, and you make sure, and even you make sure that everyone's taken care of. Even when you're not taken care of, you make sure that everyone is taken care of, and you
100%.
you make sure that first of all, family's first, because our first ministry, before we ever plug up an instrument, before we go out the door, before we get on the planes, before we get on the tour bus, we are we make sure our first family is taken care of.
Yep.
Because when the lights go off, when the cameras go off, when the you know all the free food in the back, all the nice hotels, when that last plane ride to your hometown or wherever you live, reality kicks right back in.
Mm,
I'm helping somebody today because I'm
you're
helping me.
absolutely.
I'm helping
That's why.
somebody.
That's why I let you drop the mic right there, because this is again where I think a lot of people, and I'm for a second, I'll address those of us who may not be creative, who think, oh, this is such a glamorous life. They may be looking at this.
Ooh.
They may have seen you up with Kelly Price. They may have seen you with the SOS band. They may have been like they were in the audience, right? And so now they're listening to this or watching, and they're like, oh man, like I wish I could be that guy. I wish I could have been, a musician. I quit in 12th grade. I quit in 6th grade. I would have loved to have been, you know what I mean? So they're thinking that this is like the life they could have had. I find that a lot, bro. A lot of people
I
look at our
found that too.
lives and
Hmm.
they're like, I wish I could have what you have. And they don't realize on the back end, we have, I don't want to say it's okay. I have to be careful now. The life of a musician, a creative, an artist is not worse. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Right.
not worse than a 9 to 5. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm saying there's an entirely different set of pressures
Hmm.
that most people would never. Is that a good way to put it in terms of what you just described? Coming
Yes.
reality hits, like
Um,
it's a different kind of pressure.
it's a different pressure. And then they have to realize that we are entrepreneurs.
Yep, that's where. Yep,
Mm.
it all
So
falls. It all falls on you, and it
it
falls
all
in that.
falls it all falls on you. So that's the thing about musicians. We go through seasons.
Mm-hmm.
How do we prepare for those seasons? That's the tricky question. Oh, I wish I could have your life. No, because you know, some days, and if we all been here, we may make a substantial amount of money on this month, but the next month we're in a dry season.
Yep.
How do we prepare for that? Do we say, have you saved? Do you save
Yeah.
your money for, I've always heard my mother and father say this, you know, I remember like the day I graduated high school. All right, make sure you start saving your money. You're gonna have a rainy day. Put some back for a rainy day. I'm like, rainy day. It's sunny outside.
Yeah.
Oh, the older I got,
And
you have to
they
put
were
back
that
for
was
those.
wisdom. That was
You have
wisdom.
to put back for those rainy days, and so you know when those rainy days come, you're sustained. You're not calling around, hey, da, 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 you have this, or you make sure that you're sustained. Everybody don't need to know what goes on in your house. Everybody don't need to
100%.
know that 100%. So, back to the question, everybody thinks that we have days where we're depressed. We have days where sometimes as musicians we have suicidal thoughts. That
Mm.
that your gift is not worth. It's not worth. You know, worth nothing, or you feel like no one's listening to you, or no one cares. We have those days. Just like those people have it on their job when they want to walk out and tell their boss, I quit and all that. We have those same days. We
That's
have
real,
we
man.
have them. So the musician life, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. I've I have to go through some things, and I'm pretty you had to go through some
Yeah.
things too.
Man, we don't have enough time. This would be a whole nother pot. We would have to
That's
do
a
a master
whole
class,
nother. That's a
a whole
whole
nother
nother
whole
thing.
dude. And here's what I would love to like because I know we got to. I hate to end it because we could go another 2 hours. But I'm thinking in terms of the person that's listening now and watching, who's thinking in terms of okay, he's played on all these stages. He's got his family together, starting a family with 202. Like I'm wondering what they are thinking about in terms of what is the actual thing they need to like do next. So I want you to leave this like with the thing with someone who's is where you were, let's say 10, 15 years ago. So 10, 15 years ago, you didn't know you were setting yourself up for this, right?
I I didn't.
So talk to that person who is where you were at that moment and just give them like that very next thing they need to start doing, like whatever it is. Like if it's like showing up on time more, if it's the advice you give them, like what's that one thing you would say out of all they heard, like,
That one
hey,
thing.
yeah,
That one thing. Keep going. It's hard. I know it's hard. It looks like it's. It looks like you're the only one that's doing it, and no one cares. Keep going. Keep going. Make sure you're still doing it at 100%. Keep going. It hurts. This person may not like it. Keep going. Because what God has for you is for you, and there's no one that can take it away.
amen, brother, man. I
Even
look,
I don't care
whew,
who you can have. I love this thing. Tyler Perry says, you can have a million no's. All you need is one yes. That one yes from God sets you up, And even right now in the season that I'm in right now in my life, I'm talking to someone, I'm talking to me too.
Yeah.
Seasons change. That's a good thing about seasons. You know, seasons change. So now I'm the husband and father. And I have an amazing wife. God, that girl is amazing. I can go on about that. That girl is amazing. She's a mother, a veteran, Air Force veteran. She's an author. She's an entrepreneur. Did I say mother and wife on top of that?
Yeah, yeah.
And still holds down a job. You know,
Amazing, man. Look,
and
yeah, we
so
both we both married above our pay grade, bro.
so
We both shot.
so tell Leah hello by the way for me.
Yes, I will. And she's gonna watch this. She's gonna laugh. She can't wait to.
So man, and taking care of the household. You know, taking care of our children. Even to my 3 bonus children. You know, who are of age. We're taking care. Taking care of them. We running the whole ship. Then we get to then we get to us. Make sure we're good. Making sure. Then I have to make sure my business over here as you know as the hashtag brand. Snowden thumbs, whatever. You have to make sure that is amazing. You have to make sure clientele is amazing. You have to make sure clientele is on point. You have to make sure that you're providing a great service for them too.
Yeah,
Then it gets to you.
man.
How are you?
I know, right? After all of that, like,
Then how are you?
this
Then
whole
how
thing
are
about
you?
like taking care of yourself, that whole thing somewhere fits in, but it is like the highest priority, and that's where, like I said, like it's crazy how like we start to put all these pieces together, but it just takes time, man. But dude, you are literally one of the most solid brothers. The only kind of people that I want in my world are people like you
Yes.
who are
Same here.
again like who are making me better because I know that they are who they say they are. Integrity, all that, bro. Dude, let's leave them with something that they can make sure they can connect with you because clearly we can't get all in one conversation. So they need to stay connected. So
Yes, you can follow me
so
on.
so do all the socials and all that stuff.
Yes, you can follow me on Facebook, Chris Snowden. Matter of fact, just put Snowden Thumps in Facebook. On Facebook, IG Snowden Thumps. Snapchat, Twitter. What else do we have? TikTok.
Oh Lord, you're in all those too, man. I can't
Yeah,
handle all that, dude. I'm too
man.
old for all that. The
Listen.
ticking and the talking, man. I can't
Yes,
do it. Can't do it, man. Hey, I own these grades at this point, bro. I own them. I earn them.
I
I own
understand.
them,
I
and that
understand.
means
All,
that
all,
means
all social media platforms. Hashtag Snowden Thumps. SNOWDEN Thumps. THUMPS. So all
yep. They
social
gonna
media.
get it right, bro. This has been amazing. I want to make sure I hit this record to make sure it gets right to where it needs to go, or hit stop to make sure I save this because this was golden, bro. This was
Oh man, I
golden.
appreciate it,
God
man.
bless you, man. And we have look. I don't know, like my son was up there in Pensacola. I got to get up there, or either you got to come down here. We got to reconnect.
We're
So
actually trying to plan a trip to Miami. Me and my
all
wife.
right, so you do that. We're gonna make sure to get Kim set up. We can get Leah. They can make sure they can either go shopping or cooking or whatever
No,
they
no,
want to do.
hold on. Stop that
Wait.
shopping thing. Hold on, let's stop
No
at that
shop.
shopping
Oh,
thing.
okay. You're right. Let's hold off on that. That's right. We'll, we'll,
That's the woman.
we'll,
That's the woman's first thing.
that's
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 jackpot.
why we got to
Shopping
go
and
to
food.
work. That's why we got to go to work. That's why we be working. My wife's like, "Why are you gone so long?" I want you to get. I'm like, because you see this. You
They
see
don't.
all
They don't
this.
realize. They
You
don't
see this
realize
bit.
that they're.
Okay, we're about to get in trouble, dude. Let me hang up right now before we
No,
get in trouble.
no. We're gonna help somebody. You know.
That's the marriage course. That's the next one. That's why you want to join God and Gig so you can get to the marriage course with Chris Snowden as your marriage counselor.
No, no,
Man,
no.
God bless.
Paul. No, you're about. You're 20 in, right? You're 20 something in.
I am 27 years in, Doc.
Yeah. See, I'm only 4 in.
All right. Say, but you're
November
learning
be 4
fast.
for me.
You're learning fast. You're a prodigy. You're learning fast. All right, you guys. God bless you, Chris. Thank you so much for being a
Thank
part
you,
of the
man.
God and Gig show,
Not a
man.
problem.